I don't understand the question, and I won't respond to it.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If the two of you would be so kind, would you mind introducing yourselves?
I am Mike from Wode.
I'm Tim.
And Mike, what do you play in Wode?
I play guitar and vocals.
And Tim?
Yeah, and I'm the drummer.
And how would you describe the music of Wode?
I suppose it's black metal, bits of death metal, bits of heavy metal, loads of metal, I suppose, is the common denominator. But yeah, lots of different styles.
I think it's not something we kind of like approach from a genre point of view. It's more just what feels right to us, and that usually ends up being just the kind of black metal, death metal that we like.
So outside of genres, how would you describe the music? Would you say you make a fast, somewhat melodic music?
Yeah, I guess that there is melody in there if you listen out for it. Try to sort of bring an element of like chaos as well to it.
Yeah, I think, especially with the newer stuff, I think it's a lot more varied in tempo. It's not all fast. There's a lot of different kind of beats there. It's kind of not typical blasting black metal kind of stuff. But yeah, there's plenty of melody, plenty of chaos, another kind of just really simple riffs, some complex stuff.
Yeah, not staying in the same place for too long.
Yeah.
And where are you guys based?
We're from Manchester, UK.
So let's talk about the history of Wode a little bit. How did you guys originally get together? And what did you set out to accomplish?
We came together in, it's like 2010, I think, maybe, when we first started. And then we just wanted to play some black metal together. As simple as that, really. I mean, there was no grand plan. It was just like, let's go to the practice room and, jam on some stuff and just see what happens. And it was just the two of us to start with. We actually shared vocal duties at the start. So I would sing as well, but that became too difficult. Just like running out. You can't really keep that up because the drumming is quite aggressive. So to sing as well. I mean, so I guess some people manage it. Autopsy do it, but it was beyond me. So Mike took over on that, and then we got some other band members in because we wanted to, because I play guitar as well, and me and Mike would like write riffs together, and we wanted someone else to come in and play the other parts that we'd written as things became a bit more intricate, and we needed bass as well. So it kind of came together throughout 2010, I guess, and by 2011 we had a demo together. I think was it the start of 2011 when we had the demo come out?
No, it's right at the end, December.
Oh, was it? Right, okay. Yeah.
A while ago now.
So when you did that demo, were you guys still a duo, or had you expanded to a 3-piece?
We were a 4-piece.
We were a 4-piece.
Okay.
But I think all the 3 songs on it had been written just by the two of us in the room, and then we'd added a couple of members there. Yeah. How
did you find the other 2 members?
They were just friends who, we knew liked that sort of music, and, would be a pretty good fit for the band. And Ed, the bass player, is still in the band. Danny isn't anymore, but we've had the guitar player since then. But then, so Dan's our 3rd guitar player, but we met him through, playing gigs with Wode and his old band. So he was a first choice, really, and we were already in a band with him as well, which helped. So he was a shoo-in, really.
Sorry, did you mean to say that you were in another band with him?
Yeah. So me and Dan were playing in another band called Under the Horns, which I played guitar in, and then that band ended. And me and Dan wanted to do a new band, so we got together with Mike, and that became Aggressive Perfector, which is still going as well. And then, that band was going already, and then our previous guitarist in Wode left, so we just thought we'll just get Danny. It was pretty easy to sort of fill the guitarist spot with Dan.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. I think it's, as much as having someone who is going to be able to play it, I think it's important to have someone you trust and someone you're friends with as well. Yeah,
someone who gets what you're trying to do, which he definitely does, and he also brings. He's put his own sort of stamp on it as well. He's not just sort of towing the line. He wants to, he's part of the kind of band identity now. So that's been really good having him on board.
So heading into that demo, did you guys already have a clear sense of what kind of music you wanted to make?
Not really. I don't think so. I think, especially because when it was just the two of us, it was my first time really playing guitar and singing as well. I'd always played bass, so I think it was very kind of primitive what I was able to do at that time. So some of the songs kind of just came together just based on that really simple stuff, which I kind of, maybe looking back, worked well, but I think at the time I was kind of wishing I could kind of do a bit more. But it's progressed a lot since then, I think.
Yeah.
Were you guys a four-piece with two guitarists when you did your first album?
No. Well, we weren't actually, no, because Danny, our old guitar player, he'd left the band just prior to us recording, and so I did a lot of guitars on that record as well as Mike. So I did the drums and the guitar.
Yeah, the songs on that had kind of come together right from the beginning. So it's like 4 or 5 years worth of playing them. So we kind of knew them inside out, and Tim knew how to add a second guitar for all of it. Really, it worked out pretty well. Was
that the major difference from writing songs for the demo to writing the songs that were on the first album?
Well, some of the songs were written as, I think one of them was written when it was the two of us, and then the rest of them came together. But since then, it's changed a lot. We're writing a lot more, the four of us, ever since that. Really, that was the first album kind of marked the end of like the more writing in isolation. It became much more of a group thing.
Yeah. And I think that came with changes in personnel in the band as well. It was just sort of easier with the people that we had in the second album. It was easier to sort of write in the room and work ideas out rather than just having a sort of complete thing. But it's still the case that it'd be like Michael and me will bring in ideas and. But we'll finish them off. We'll explore them in the room, and those will turn into songs. But we're not really bringing in finished songs, because it's just, we tend to get better results when everyone's kind of chipping in with it. Really.
Yeah, it'll often go in a totally different direction, and it's usually like a much more interesting direction than you might have intended it to go in.
Yeah. It's a bit more, it's there's a lot of nice surprises that happen in the room where something completely unexpected happens to the idea that you've kind of thought you knew you thought you understood, and then it's taken into a completely different realm. So that's good when that happens, and that's how the best material kind of comes together, I think.
Are you at the point now where everyone contributes to the songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, by playing them by playing the ideas in the room. I mean, the initial ideas are still mainly coming from me and Mike, but for riffs and stuff. But when the others get involved, they're definitely they have a creative input definitely in it, and it certainly enriches the process.
Yeah, I think oftentimes I've noticed. We'll kind of be up to where we are with a new song that's coming along, and then, we'll play it up to that point, and then we'll just kind of jam a bit after that rather than stopping. And then often, if we've recorded it, the idea that comes there will be where the song ends up going, because it's kind of like when you're in the moment, you can kind of feel between the four of you where it should go when you're playing it. Yeah.
And I think, we've been playing together for that long now that we kind of understand the kind of things that each other does, and can almost anticipate it. So it's not just kind of jamming aimlessly. There's a definite sense of direction to it, and a sort of almost, telepathic kind of connection. Sometimes it feels like.
So are the two of you coming into to rehearsal or to the rest of the band with riffs and basic ideas for song structure and then just fleshing it out from there?
Basically, yeah. We'll have one section that goes into another, maybe into another, and then but all of that is open to kind of to change. But yeah, generally it's like you've got a couple of bits and a sort of idea of where it might go. But yeah, and then you jam it and it'll change. So it's a constant sort of, well, I guess it's quite a sort of organic process, and it can go in ways you don't expect.
I agree with that totally. Yeah, it's there's many ways it can come together. It's often through that, a lot of listening back to just recordings, and then maybe working on it a little bit at home, and maybe bringing that idea in, which then again might change. So there's many ways the song will come together. It's not always exactly the same.
Yeah. You might even, something might be you listen back to a recording, and there might be something on there. It's just like a complete mistake, but might sound cool, so you can unpick it and then try and if it's come about completely by accident like that, it's going to be it's something like it's always going to be something kind of new and unexpected. So those kind of, when those things happen, they're quite good. With
the process that you described to me, what song would you say changed the most, or maybe surprised you the most, between the version that you guys started on your own to the completed version that's on the completed recorded version?
I would say the first song, because you had like the first riff, but then we kind of just jammed it out a bit, didn't we? And then the other bit sort of came together. Yeah, with the three of us, and so yeah, that's probably quite a good example of that. Yeah,
Lunar Madness, that's the one. Yeah, I had a different idea of how it might go, and then Dan had something he'd had for a while. I think that he kind of managed to make work, and it was took it in a really different direction. I think it's hard to pick one, because really every song, will change a lot, because it's just all about unexpected turns. I think it's always going to be like that.
If it doesn't change in the room, then it doesn't feel right.
No.
It has to go through some sort of transformation for it to feel like we've actually kind of, written something that is representative of what we're about, and that we've put our stamp on, kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you guys like that element of surprise?
Yeah, definitely. It keeps you on your toes, I think. I know a lot of bands kind of work where it's someone will write everything, and it's kind of very much the other members having to play the parts that they've been given, but I don't think we could ever really work like that.
No.
So how did the two of you originally meet?
We just met through a mutual friend.
Yeah. We jammed before, a little bit before, but we kind of, I think we were ready at the time to definitely start doing something new, and it kind of just fell into place at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, had you guys known each other through the scene, or through other bands that you had each been in?
No. We knew Dan that way, but no, we just met through it.
Yeah, there wasn't really much of a scene in Manchester at the time, really. I think there was definitely people doing things, but it wasn't like a kind of social scene for metal that I was aware of, really. It's become more so since then.
Yeah.
When did you realize that it was working?
Right away, really. It felt pretty good. We did some initial recordings before we did the demo. I think probably like maybe the first time we even jammed, and it came out good. And it was clear that there was some sort of connect. We could read what each other was going to do, so there was a bit of chemistry there. So it wasn't a struggle at all to kind of get something going.
Yeah, I think once we had a couple of songs that became what would be on the demo, I think then it was very clear to us that there was something good there. Yeah, definitely.
So on April 2nd, you will be releasing your third album through 20 Buck Spin, and the album is called Burn in Many Mirrors. Tell me a little bit about this album. Tell me about how long you guys have been working on it and some of the ideas that you had going into this album.
I think we wrote the first song just before we were going on tour in Europe in 2018. I think it was around April time. And we kind of, just writing in between, the tours and gigs. We kind of didn't really finish the writing until right as before we were recording it, which was March last year. So I guess it was a couple of years in total. I guess we just saw it as I kind of saw it as a bit of a clean slate from the previous stuff, although it definitely follows along with some of the ideas on the last record. I think we had, there's a bit of a different dynamic because we had Dan in the band. I think we just felt like a good amount of freedom when we were writing. We could see the material was really strong and it felt a bit different. So we kind of just followed it where it went, and it ended up being...
there was never any struggle to write any of it. It was just sort of flowing really, really well. So it was probably the easiest writing process we've had for any of the albums so far. And the idea really was just to kind of, I guess the idea was that we didn't really have a preconceived kind of idea of what we were going to do. It was just like, do whatever. And, we were sort of had it, faith that once we got together and played and that we'd put our own stamp on whatever it was we threw into the mix, and it would still sound like Wode.
So when you say you went into this album as a clean slate, or with a clean slate, did you intentionally try to do that? Did you intentionally want to do something without purposefully recalling some of your previous albums?
I mean, I think once a record's done, you can draw a line under it. I think it's almost probably when the first song came together, it felt so much different to what we'd done previously, that I think it called for like a different sort of mindset, a different, the theme, the lyrical themes kind of changed because the music felt different. So I guess the clean slate was brought on by feeling we had something very much new, at least to us.
Tim, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I get what I get what Mike says there. I mean, I agree with that. But I guess I don't know. I felt quite energized, kind of, after touring the last album, and getting a good reaction, seeing that people actually kind of were listening and paying attention to what we were doing. Yeah, that sort of, I guess it gets you sort of fired up for the next thing. So there was a bit of that going on.
So it sounds like you're saying that you weren't intentionally trying to do something new. It just very organically, you guys had just done what you did, and the result is what we hear. Yeah,
pretty much. We were just like maybe we never really in the past kind of vetoed any riffs or ideas because they're not black metal enough or not this or that enough. But with this one, there was just, I don't know, maybe there was more willingness to sort of stray from the path a bit more, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Musically, how would you compare this to the previous albums?
I mean, I think it's the only real similarity I see to the first album is some of the melody and some of the more kind of lengthier tracks where it kind of goes through a lot of different movements. I think there's definitely a lot more similarity to the second album. I think maybe just because we'd found our groove more just in terms of being proficient and playing, definitely for me anyway. I guess some of the ideas on Servants, we kind of started playing a very like intentionally simplified kind of riff on the song Celestial Dagger, which kind of, I thought there was a lot of room to kind of create something powerful using that kind of riffing, which we've carried over to this record for a few of the songs.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that you say that you jam a lot of these songs, or write a lot of these songs through jam or through jamming with the other members, because this album, more than the previous two, has a feeling of like almost more of like a rock feeling, or like a garage rock kind of feeling to it. Like it feels like something that came out of rehearsals. It feels like something that came together almost as a like instinctual. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean completely. Yeah, especially with something like Fire in the Hills, like that one. That was definitely a very sort of instinctive kind of writing process. Because really, I mean, there's so many bits in it. You would never sort of think, oh, I'll write a song with that many bits in, because it'd be a complete nightmare. But yeah, because we were just sort of doing whatever felt right. It result, yeah, there's loads of bits, but really it kind of flows as one thing, I think. But that just comes from playing in the room together, that kind of thing, and just keeping the energy up in the room. And then if you can maintain that, if the song is maintaining that energy, then it's a keeper.
Now, in terms of completing this album, did this take longer, or was it easier for this album to come together?
It looks like it took longer, but what you mean, the actual recording process was about the same as any of them, really?
Well, not quite.
Was it not?
The recording, well, we had to postpone after the first week because of the lockdown here, the COVID lockdown. So it. Oh yeah, kind of was that? Yeah. that have you forgotten that? Yeah. I think it probably we wanted it to come out last year, but we had to wait a few months to resume recording in the summer. We started in March, and then there was a couple of months in between where we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, so it actually took months longer than the others.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it only added like 6 months onto it or something like that.
But that was more for the delays because of the social distancing orders, right? Not necessarily the songwriting.
Yeah,
not the songwriting. That was all done.
Yeah, the songwriting. Yeah, it was a 2 year process, really. I guess we'd maybe after the last record, I think we sort of didn't really start writing until properly until a year after it had been released, because we'd been touring quite a bit. So that was more it wasn't so much the process that took a long while. It's more just things that were happening.
Yeah. And we were doing we were doing aggressive Perfecta stuff, and I was doing stuff with Heavy Sentence, which Ed, the bass player, also plays in. And maybe so that delayed it, and maybe also like playing in sort of more heavy metal oriented stuff, and spending so much time doing that over the past few years with those bands, maybe that rubbed off a little bit on this new Wode album.
So the album was recorded by Joe Clayton at No Studio. You worked with Clayton before on your previous album. Tell me about working with Clayton.
Yeah, he's great. We've known him for a few years, just from bands he's played in Manchester, and he's been recording bands for quite a while. The studio setup is absolutely ideal for us, because it's kind of close to us and like a really good environment. And I think he just gets it, really. He's willing to take on advice and kind of help us shape it, but I think we're definitely on the same wavelength in terms of what we want the outcome to be.
Yeah, he's just he can take we can say something quite abstract, and he can about how he wants something to sound, and he can translate that into something real, like a real process in the studio. So yeah, he's able to kind of he knows where we're coming from with it, and he knows he gets, if we say we want it to sound like X band, he'll kind of know or X section, X song, he'll know what we're talking about, and be able to achieve the sort of effect, and probably even do something better.
Yeah, I think as far as mixing, with the last album, we were a bit more hands-on in trying to guide him, the direction we wanted to have it. But this time, we kind of tried that, and it wasn't what we wanted. So Joe kind of mixed it himself pretty much. We just came in and added a few suggestions at the end. But his, I think his instincts were probably better than us for how it should sound in the end.
Yeah.
You mentioned the recording being delayed because of the lockdown and the COVID situation. Were the recordings affected in any other way?
No, not really. We'd managed to record all the drums, and I think a lot of the bass, and then we had like scratch tracks for guitars. So we were able to listen to it and then kind of pick up pretty much right away, even though it was a couple of months down the line. I think initially we were only allowed to have a couple of us in the studio at a time, but it kind of, things became a bit more relaxed over the summer, so it kind of just ended up being as it was. This
will be your first album for 20 Bucks Spin. How did 20 Bucks Spin get involved in the release of this?
Dave from the label just sent us an email. I guess it would have been probably towards the end of 2017 after the last album had come out. We were fans of the label. We think it's really cool. I think especially even since then he's really took it to another level. He just expressed that he liked our last album, and we were kind of, we said to him we'll keep in touch, but we don't have anything ready to show you. Like we didn't want to commit to anything before he'd heard it, to be honest. I think that's been the way we've always worked, really. We don't bother labels too much. We kind of just wait until we have something, and then that's that. But we weren't unhappy with the previous label, Avant-Garde. It's a very, it's a really good label, but just felt like it was the right move for this album. So we kind of, a while passed actually. We got back in touch with Dave once we'd finished writing everything, which was the beginning of last year. So it was kind of a couple of years without really being in contact, but thankfully he was still really up for the idea. And it's worked out perfectly since then. Are there any bands on 20 Bucks Spin that you particularly like? Yeah, plenty. I like Magic Circle a lot. I think Two Mold are good. There's plenty. He's done stuff for Mournful Congregation. Who else? Yeah, there's plenty of bands. Vastum.
Vatican Shadow. It's quite interesting.
What was that?
Vatican Shadow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's loads. Yeah, I think it's all really quite varied in what he's doing, but very interesting things. I guess there's not really a lot of black metal on there, which is almost quite appealing to us, because I think it might help us kind of reach a few different people. But between Vastum and Mournful Congregation, there is this kind of, maybe even Tomb Mold a little bit, there's this kind of almost more organic metal sound that they have on that label that Wode fits in with a little bit. Yeah, it feels like a good fit. I guess, there's some parallels for sure. I think it's all very there's a good attitude about a lot of the bands. I don't think it's it feels quite like you say, kind of an organic kind of types of music on there. So tell me a little bit about the Manchester scene. You mentioned that when you started the band, there wasn't much of a scene. I don't really know much about what's going on there. I did interview a band last year who were somewhere in your area. How would you describe the scene? Sorry, did you say who?
Who was that?
Burial. I believe Burial are from Manchester.
Oh yeah, we're friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really know much about what's going on in your area, but it seems like there is a growing death and black metal scene there.
Yeah, there's Burial. they've always Burial. They've always been there. They've been going since I don't know how long. Probably, I think 2004 or something. But yeah. But in Manchester, it's not really. I don't think there's really a black metal. There's not enough black metal bands or death metal bands in Manchester for there to be a scene, a black metal scene or a death metal scene. But I think there's enough kind of that there is like a metal scene and a metal kind of audience who, come to gigs who are pretty reliable and pretty enthusiastic. So yeah, it's fine. No complaints.
Are there venues in the area that you guys can play?
There's plenty.
Usually.
There's plenty of good venues, and it is kind of a bigger city in the UK, so most tours will come through, so you get to see a lot of the bands that will play. But yeah, there's every kind of size of venue.
So I'm curious, when you say that there isn't a scene as such, do you mean that it's not really like you're seeing the same 100, 200 people at gigs every week? I mean, obviously it's been different since last year, but
no, you're not.
I think there's probably quite a disparity between there's different types of stuff going on. Like, I guess the stuff we're not really into. There's plenty of like sort of stoner type bands. There's definitely like a lot of people playing stuff, and you will oftentimes see a totally different crowd at different gigs.
Maybe, yeah. There are. I mean, there are
people I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, it's big enough that you see people that you don't know everyone in this who comes to gigs. So that's good, because that would get a bit boring. But yeah, it's just sort of, it's more of just a kind of general metal scene, I guess, than it is any sort of specific kind of subgenre. You just get you'll get punk bands playing with metal bands, or like thrash bands or whatever, or heavy metal bands, and yeah, a lot of that it kind of spills over into Leeds and Sheffield as well. There's a lot of kind of intermingling with those scenes as well.
So from the way you guys describe your writing process, it sounds like live is really the most natural place for you guys to be. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, go on.
So with everything that's happening in the world, obviously you're not able to tour like you'd want to. How are you coping, and how are you adapting to that?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I think, obviously there's a hope that things will return to normal, but I guess we're fine to kind of just promote the album through other means at the moment, and then we're focusing on writing a lot for the other bands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no like, you just have to adapt to the situation, and I guess we've kind of been able to do that. When the time comes to play live, we'll be ready to do it, but until then we'll just work on other music.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I like, playing live and stuff, I also like sitting at home and putting ideas together, riffs and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't want it to go on indefinitely, obviously, but even though it's been quite a long time now, like a year, it's been about a year, hasn't it? I mean, there's been enough going on to like keep me occupied, and I think that's the same for everyone. And and it's given me time to work on ideas for the band as well. So yeah, it's not been so bad. I mean, in terms of, it's not like put the band in jeopardy really or anything like that.
With 3 albums done, where do you see this band going? Do you guys have any ideas for the future?
I think we'll just kind of approach it in the same way. Really, we've not really been able to start writing together yet, but we'll aim to do that soon, and then just see what comes up. I think there's definitely some ideas from this album that I think we could develop more, and then head in other directions as well. But it's all really determined by how everything comes together when the 4 of us are kind of playing. It probably may go in a totally different direction to what any of us have in mind, and that's fine as long as we're all into it. There's never been a point where any of us have gone, I don't want like that part of the song or whatever, or that kind of direction seems wrong. I think working on stuff together and knowing each other, we always end up with something that we like. So whatever that happens to be with the next record, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Tim, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I guess it's just sort of, keeping the sort of, whatever happens, just keeping the kind of, that core way of working, just keeping that intact and working as it has done. Really, yeah. But yeah, there'll be another record, hopefully sooner than, we'll follow it up in less time than we did our previous record. But I imagine without touring being on the agenda, then hopefully we can do something a bit quicker.
So Burn in Many Mirrors will be out on April 2nd through $20 Spin. Fellas, tell people how they can order this album.
Yeah, you can pre-order it right now, 20buckspin.com. If you're in the UK, also Crypt of the Wizard, the record shop, has pre-orders for the vinyl, and it'll be in many, many other places on release. We'll have copies ourselves, which you can order through Bandcamp, which is wode.bandcamp.com. Yeah, and keep up to date with that, I guess. We're on like Facebook and Instagram, Wode Cult, CULT.
I see a couple different vinyl editions on the $20 Spin page. Do you want to say something about the physical releases that $20 Spin is doing?
Yeah, obviously it's a big thing with the label to have the kind of special editions of the vinyl. I think it's come out pretty cool. Yeah, we like it. There's going to be just your standard black, and then I think like two kind of very colourful ones, and then a CD and a cassette as well. So yeah, it's available on all formats.
Don't Crypt of the Wizard have a different color or something?
Well, yeah, I mean it's one of the colours, but it's the kind of so-called UK exclusive, which is also available in America and everywhere else.
Okay.
So that's how you call it.
And it's on tape, on CD as well. You've only got a tape player, you can buy it on tape.
Download it, whatever.
And I should point out that all your previous releases are on your Bandcamp page as Name Your Price downloads. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we've always kind of done it like that. I don't really place a lot of monetary value on a download, so download it if you want. Buy a shirt.
Yeah.
Come and watch us play. It's more important to me.
Is there anything else you guys want to say?
Thanks for the interview.
Yeah. No, I think that's been good. Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.